Welcome back, friends. I'm Burk with Shared Science in Long Beach, California, where creative kids dive into STEM fun. This is Lesson 6 of Python Bytes, where you'll learn about functions. You should have completed Lessons 0 through 5 before you continue. Still with me? Great! The answer to Lesson 5's homework challenge is in the comments of this video. If you haven't already, open Replit in your browser. By the end of Lesson 5, you had learned how to open, read, and write files to save your data. Today, you'll discover functions, your new best friend. Open a new REPL while I explain if you haven't already. Functions are blocks of code that run when you call them. They allow you to execute many different commands with a single statement. Python has a number of built-in functions, some of which you've already used, like print and input. Think about input for a minute. It prints a message to the screen, records what the user types, and then returns the value and assigns it to a variable. It seems simple, but it involves multiple steps that you don't have to worry about because input takes care of everything. Does that make sense? All right, Python has handy functions built in, but the exciting part is that you can also write your own functions. So let's give it a go. Here's a very simple example of a function that says hello. Type it with me. We're going to start with def, and then the name of a function. I'm going to call this one hiya. And we'll open the parentheses and type in name, and then after the parentheses, a colon. Press return. See that it's automatically indented? Great. Now, we're going to print, P-R-I-N-T, open parentheses, open quotes, hello, and then a comma, the variable name, and one more thing. How about, it's a great day. So, there's your first function. I'm going to press return to get back to the program, and I don't want to be indented anymore, so I'll press backspace or delete to get back to the beginning. So the def, D-E-F, tells Python that it's defining a function. Hiya is the name of the function. Name is the input to the function. All right, so how do you use it? Well, on a new line, type in hiya, A-Y-A, and then in parentheses, open quotes, Burk. That should do it. Run your program. Hello, Burk. It's a great day. So, what happened here? First, on line 4, we called the function hiya and sent the variable, or we sent the text string Burk to hiya. It's expecting something that it calls name. All right? You can also send a variable instead of text. The next part's a little confusing, so pay close attention. Within your function, the variable name takes the value that you sent to it when you ran the function. So hiya reads in Burk and assigns that value to name. Make sense? But the variables within a function only work inside of that function. I know. Try this. Start a new line. Very simple. We're going to type in print and name and run the program. What do we get? Another Python error message. Name is not defined. That's the important part of this. So the name variable here only works within the function. What happens in a function stays in the function. And this can lead to some confusion. Start a new line at the top of the program and type in name equals Burk. Name equals Burk. And you can use your own name, of course. Now, change your hiya call to read hiya name. Run the program again. Hello, Burk. It's a great day. And then Burk. And so what happens? You can use the same variable, but that doesn't mean that you should. Okay, it's confusing. It works, but which name is which can get you into a lot of confusion. So let's make this first name or Hiya name or something else. Then change it here, first name, F-I-R-S-T, and run it again. Everything still works, but we can tell the difference between the name and the first name variables just by looking. That makes more sense. All right, the Hiya function does its job and then it quits. It doesn't send anything back to the rest of the program. Let's have a look at a slightly more complex function. I've already typed this out. Don't worry about you trying to type it in. I'll give you a link to it at the end of this lesson. You can run it and edit it yourself. In fact, it'll be part of your homework. Just pay attention. Line 11 creates a variable called groceries and assigns a value which will be generated by the GetList function. Now, there are two arguments or parameters sent to GetList, fruit and 3. That's fruit in quotes, so it's a string. Now let's go back to line 1. GetList, the function, has two variables in parentheses. The first, item name, corresponds to the first argument when you called it, fruit. And the second, number, corresponds with 3. These are the things that the function expects to get when it's called. Now, once the function starts running, it creates a list called items. You remember how that works, right? And then, instead of just asking for a bunch of inputs, we set up a loop using the range command. For x in range, starting at 0 and going through number, so in this case it'll be 3, we sent the 3 to the function, and within the function it's 3, and in increments of 1. For each one of the runs through the loop, we'll get a response to an input phrase. Input, enter A, and then we add item name, which came from here, and then we add a colon. Now, the plus signs are ways to construct a string using variable name values. I know that doesn't make a lot of sense, but just trust me on this one for now. And then we take the item that's returned and we insert it into the items list. We sort it and then we return the items. And so groceries becomes a sorted list. And then we print groceries. Now, let's see this and maybe that'll make more sense to you. Enter a fruit. I'm going to go with oranges. Enter another fruit, apples, and one more, kiwi. Apples, kiwi, oranges. Everybody see? So we took in a list, we sorted it, and we returned it. Super easy. We did all that with one command. Groceries equals GetList, and that's our function. Fruit tells us what it is we want to prompt them to enter, and 3 tells us how many times we want to prompt them. This is the way that you can find reusable pieces of code that can do crazy great things for you. If you wanted to make an additional list of vegetables, instead of having to copy and edit a dozen lines of code, you can just call GetList again. In fact, that's what I'd like you to do for homework. The Python script that I've given you, GetList, I'll put a link to at the bottom of this video. I'd like you to play with it, add another list for vegetables, and modify the output and see if you can get it to do things that you'd like it to do. Well, that's it for lesson 6. You've written your first function, walked through a function that uses loops and input to make a sorted list. For homework, play with the GetList function, add another list for vegetables. The link is right here, and I'll put it in the comments too. I'll post a solution in the comments of the next lesson. Next time, we'll cover Python libraries, your new superpower. Thanks for hanging with Shared Science. Tune in again for more creative engineering fun. You are not allowed to play with power tools.